Investor Connect podcast program. This is Hall T. Martin. I'm the host of the show, in which we interview angel investors, venture capital, private equity, family offices, and many other investor groups for startups and growth companies. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for joining us. Well, hello, this is Hall Martin with Investor Connect. Today we're here with Djalil Reghis of Agroecology Capital. Djalil, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
What was your background before investing in early stage companies?
Well, I'm an engineer by training, and I entered the food and agribusiness industry early on in my career. And I held, before coming here to the US, executive positions in various executive positions in the MENA region. And the last one in an agri-food company downstream of the value chain, working in the MENA region in manufacturing and distribution. And I left this company like 2.5 years ago to join Stanford University to take an exec program degree here at the business school and to merge technology with the challenges that I have faced in my previous career when I saw the opportunity that technology can open and the frustration we had as operators that technology can solve. And I came here to Stanford and California to merge my skills and the values I have, my values regarding this industry, to put it into work in something I like, which is investing and discovering the new great thing that might push the values I defend forward. So this is, in a nutshell, what I have done so far before joining the industry.
Great. So what do you find exciting right now?
What I find exciting is, referring to my previous answer, is that technology offers tremendous opportunities to push the values, my own values. And that's about Agroecology Capital. That's why we chose the name, because the principles of agroecology are important to me. And what excites me is that finally we have these new technologies that can help to spread these values and push them forward. And if you add to that the fact of working with extraordinary people and minds, makes it more exciting. So this is what excites me now today, what makes me happy every day, working on my fund and with the founders and tackling these huge challenges with great values behind them.
So what's your advice for people investing in your sector these days? What do you tell them to do before they write that first check?
I mean, before writing the first check, I would go even before this step. Is investing in AgTech remains a small market. It's a small business. $2 billion were invested last year, more or less. So sharing is really important. Sharing great opportunities is really important. So before even signing a check, is to share also with other investors in this space, because this is how we can funnel the best deals and also leverage the expertise of other investors. It's a pretty new industry in terms of investing. So it's really important to gain insights from other investors. So it's true for all other industries, but particularly true when this is a nascent industry as AgTech investment. And so this is the capstone advice I would give. And I would add onto that, work with specialists. It's really technical. It's not as easy as it seems. And it's really technical and very you need like specialists, highly skilled specialists to assess the value of the technology and the potential behind it. So these could be the two pieces of advice I might give.
And on the other side, for the startup, how do you advise the CEOs running startups? What should they think about for the sector?
I mean, I won't say something different regarding other industries and in investment in general, in entrepreneurship, like gather a good team and also work with good investors, which is really, really important, because this is a very particular industry when you need to have the right partners to access the right markets and the right geographies for your technology. So good team and good investors are two very important parts I would look at as an entrepreneur.
So tell us more about the industry sector you're in and how do you see it evolving? What changes do you see happening these days?
It's a fascinating industry. It's a pretty new one. So in terms of figure, last year, like almost $2 billion were invested, more or less $2 billion. As a matter of comparison, 8 years ago, it was only $100 million. So we have witnessed like a dramatic growth in capital invested. So there is an interest in this space. And so It's evolving fast with new players, with pure players, funds investing only in this vertical. So this is what we see, like a tremendous amount of capital compared to a few years ago, but also an increase in the number of pure players, of having funds investing only in AgTech in opposition of having a vertical in a bigger fund. So it's coming more and more sophisticated in terms of investment. So this is the biggest trend I've seen so far.
So tell us more about your fund and your investment thesis for it.
Yeah, so Agroecology Capital is an early stage fund, a VC fund based in California, in Silicon Valley, in Palo Alto. It's a newly established fund. We invest only in the upstream of the value chain, only in agriculture. We do not touch anything related to food, for example. We believe that data and software are tremendous tools that transform agriculture, which remains to date one of the last analog industry, but one of the most promising in terms of potential for investors and also to feed the growing population. And we believe that decommoditization is one of the main big things that will happen. And because what we have today, the big commodities, as we know, like grains and other types of commodities, have their series of issues. And we believe that decommoditization, the ability of bringing a commodity from a commodity to a food product, would help solve a lot of issues. One of them is higher revenues for farmers who are suffering for low margins, but also a lot of transparency for consumers who are pushing today for more traceability and transparency. Traceability could be a great tool for that. And so this is one of the components of our investment thesis. And the other one that and here we're talking about evolution of the value chain. If you take the value chain of agri-food, so this could be an evolution, having more traceable food and produces. But on the other hand, you have the complete destruction of the value chain, and we see it today with the lab-grown food, either lab-grown food or lab-grown leather, for example. So these are the two main big things coming, and we believe that it will benefit all the stakeholders, from investors to consumers, even for governments who are today thinking very hard about feeding the growing population.
So do you have any specific criteria around revenue or stage or team?
Yeah, we invest first in early stage. The team, obviously, we need like top tier teams in technical skills and managerial skills also. And the geographies, we invest mainly in the US and in Europe also, because we have strong network and strong roots in Europe with the operators there. Because if you take Europe as a whole, as the European Union, for example, it's like it's a half a billion market. So, and agriculture plays a great role in these economies. And we leverage both ecosystems we're in. So we invest in both Europe and the US, mainly in great teams and great operators. And the companies we're closing a deal tomorrow, for example, it's a good example of what we are doing. It's a Swiss-based company with a PhD from Switzerland tackling a massive challenge in the food industry. So top-tier teams, great market, great IP, and great execution as well.
So for the startups that are launching into this space, what are the challenges they face? Regulatory, market, technology, all of the above? What do you see them working against?
Yeah, regulatory, I would say it's an important one, because you're not downloading an application. It's mainly like agriculture applications. So it ends on your plates ultimately. So you have different types of regulations and different legal frameworks. So it's one of the main challenges, but I won't say it's the hardest one. In my opinion, the hardest one is the distribution channel, because ultimately the end user in agriculture are farmers, right? So having this capillary distribution, if you have a product obviously that's needed by the farmer, it's really challenging to sell this to the farmer, because farmers have different needs here in the US or in Europe or in India, for example. So distribution is really important in some of the sub-verticals in agriculture. And if I may add, another piece of advice is having a good partner for distribution, especially when it goes to hardware and some products used by the farmers themselves.
Great. So what applications do you see as immediate opportunities for investors to pursue?
I would say traceability. There are like huge opportunities today in this space. A direct opportunity, because it's a big market. There is a big need, a push for consumers for more transparency. So traceability is something really important. And beyond that is also the ability of these companies, there's a massive opportunity to transform these companies. For example, I'm just like giving like a specific example from a traceability company to an ERP company. So there are tremendous opportunities in this space, and we are looking at it really closely. So if I have to give one piece of advice, it would be this one to see now.
Great. So in the last few minutes that we have here, what else should we cover that we haven't?
Yes, I talked earlier about the opportunities that technology offers for agriculture, but I'm a strong believer of that technology will solve many other big issues, healthcare, for example, and climate change. Agriculture is one of the main emitters of greenhouses, GHGs. So healthcare also is a big part of the problems that we have today, humanity is facing, that technology can bring. And I'm really happy to be part of this adventure of this particular time in our history where the jump we'll do in so many things for human beings and for the humanity will be done through technology.
That's great. Well, how best for listeners to get back in touch with you?
Just our website, agroecologycapital.com, and you will have all the information to email us or to call us. And we're always happy to talk to entrepreneurs, investors, colleagues. It's a small space, so we love talking about that. So it's always a pleasure to meet new people.
Great. We'll put those in the show notes. I want to thank you for joining us today and hope to have you back for a follow-up soon.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, and hope to talk to you soon. Thank you.
Investor Connect helps investors interested in startup funding. In this podcast series, experienced investors share their experience and advice. You can learn more at investorconnect.org. Paul Martin is the director of Investor Connect, which is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to the education of investors for early-stage funding. All opinions expressed by Hall and podcast guests are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinion of Investor Connect. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon as a basis for investment decisions.